The boroughs are New York City. The burbs are everywhere else. Real estate is the ultimate game of risk and reward. It's the biggest investment most people ever make. Fortunes are made over a lifetime and lost in a day. And we're not playing with Monopoly money. How do you stay ahead? Who's buying? Who's selling? And why? What do they know? We want the truth. You need an edge. Boroughs and Burbs is your secret weapon, giving you the insider knowledge and strategies you need to succeed in the high-stakes world of real estate. From Palm Beach to Palm Springs, Manhattan to Malibu, we press the experts to expose the pain, find the deals, and occasionally predict the future. That's Boroughs and Burbs, Thursdays, 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific. Because everyone can make money in real estate.
Welcome, everybody. Boroughs and Burbs, number 221. Today we're doing sports marketing. I'm very excited to take you through, I think, one of the most anticipated shows of the year. First, we are Boroughs and Burbs. You'll find us at boroughsandburbs.com. I am John Engel. You'll find me at theengelteam.com. That's my partner, Roberto Cabrera. Say hello.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Where are you?
I'm in Manhattan. Where else?
Right. Upper West Side, center of the known universe. Our special guest today, Don Davis with Douglas Elliman in Texas. And he is he is a former professional football player who has targeted the sports and entertainment business. And he's brought with him today Tony the Tycoon Hills, a star and national champion on the college front and on the professional front, and played for what, 6 teams? Look at them all there. Boy, got around the league and finally, I guess, retired in 2017. And I'm very excited to hear about what happens after a phenomenal career in football. Here's a little
you know why he played? You know why he played for so many teams? He was networking.
Yeah, he was. That's the consummate networker. There's Tony Hills. You'll find him at tonyhills.com, and you can buy his book on the subject, What to Do When It's Done, by Tony the Tycoon Hills. Roberto asked me, what are we doing? Why are we doing this, John, today? And I said, because DE, Douglas Elliman, they've got a sports marketing business. Brown Harris Stevens has a sports and entertainment division. Compass has a sports entertainment division. Everybody is trying to figure out how to talk to sports stars and service that niche, Roberto.
And why is that, John? Why would that be?
Because just like Jesse James said, why do I rob banks? Because that's where the money is.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
I love it.
So, without further ado, Tony, why don't you introduce yourself properly?
Yeah, no, man, listen, I appreciate that, man. I love all the links too, man. That's great. It's always interesting being a quote unquote public figure when I move more towards trying to live a private life, or in the pursuit of living a private life. But I realize that in the sports space, there's nothing private, right? So, no, it's cool. But yeah, no, I am Tony the Tycoon Hills. I grew up in A-Leaf, Texas. Shout out to all my guys out there. And from there, I left, actually, never left the state of Texas. Was invited and had the honor to represent the United States in the Junior Olympics at 14 in Barcelona, Spain. So my first trip out of the state was out of the country, right? So it's safe to say that I do things a little different than most. But when I got back, I decided to put the basketball down, pick the football up, and found I was pretty decent. I was the #1 tight end in the state of Texas and the #5 player in the country. And so from there, my life is all ahead of me. I had over 70 scholarship offers. I could have went to any school that I wanted to. But just like in life, there's twists and turns. I ended up getting injured in a high school game. Didn't think anything of it. Hurt a knee. You get knee surgery. What I wasn't expecting was for the doctor to tell me that you might not walk normally again, much less alone play football. You have what is called drop foot. So my peroneal nerve was no longer firing, and I was paralyzed for 6 months. But through the grace of God, having a praying mom. Shout out to Mary Lemons, Mama Lemons. She's probably gonna be watching this later and tell me that I forgot something. But through the grace of God, man, he healed me. And after all of the scholarships were removed because people didn't think I would play anymore, there was one guy, a small, tiny white guy, that reached out and said, "Tony, we recruited you for the man that you are, not just the athlete. And if you want a scholarship here at the University of Texas, it's still here for you." So that was Coach Brown. So it's my guy to this day. And that's how I got to the University of Texas. Switched positions, became a All-American as an offensive tackle, and then later won a national championship there. Played with two dynamic quarterbacks, one being Vince Young and the other being Colt McCoy. Got drafted in the 4th round on the 130th pick with the Pittsburgh Steelers and walked right into a Super Bowl championship and got to play into another one. So 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. And then after a 10-year career, my mind, body, soul, and spirit decided it was time to do something else. And so that's what I did. And so now, today, after a long battle of trying to, quote unquote, figure it out as an athlete and understanding that transitional phase, I am the co-owner of 2 companies, the president of one of them being Insure Legacy, which you see behind me, where we're risk management architects that focus on principal protection and cash flow accumulation and the whole well-roundedness of the athlete. And then BizConnect 360, where we have a program called Share 360, where we focus on being able to position nonprofits financially at no cost to them and at no cost to the businesses that decide to pour efforts into that initiative. So, and author, Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award guy, and so on and so on. So that's it. That's the story.
Now, Don, give us a little bit background on yourself. You also, I mean, that was phenomenal. What's, you know what, before I move on, what's phenomenal is not that you were a great athlete. There are many great athletes out there, but what you did after being a great athlete, how you converted that after the playing career is over.
Before
Don.
you answer that, Tony, can I see a Super Bowl ring, please?
I tell you what, after Don goes, if y'all remember to ask me that at the end of the show, I'll go ahead and bring it. I'll put it on camera.
We will. Go ahead, Don.
All right. Well, my name is Don Davis. Excuse me. I'm originally from San Antonio, Texas, and I played football from 1979 probably to about 1999. So I played about 20 years and had some really good relationships. Like you guys mentioned before, I understood the power of networking with my teammates, and if you go through something hard together, you become like family. So as a youth, I was mentored by a coach named David Arevalo from San Antonio. Ironically, a lot of us were single parent household kids, and so he was kind of our father in the community. And he basically told us we couldn't quit football. So he would ask for our report cards, and if we had any unsatisfactory conduct or any low grades, we would have to bear crawl. And so I took that opportunity. I shouldn't say I took it out. He took the opportunity to kind of scare us straight out of gangs and violence on the east side of San Antonio by making sure that we were a championship football team, and that was called the Alamo City Chargers back in 1979. And then at that time, we ended up having teammates that go on and go pro. Corey Sears, Priest Holmes from San Antonio, Columbia, Charros, and some other guys that you guys might be familiar with. But what that did for me is that let me have a foundation of sports and entertainment relationships that I had since I was a kid. So as soon as I got my real estate license, I was contacted by Priest Holmes. Priest Holmes was looking to just do a BPO or comparative market analysis on one of his properties. And then as he got to talking to more and more people, he realized that I was really good at what I was doing. And he started referring me to other athletes. And then from that point, we grew back. We went back and started a nonprofit, and a nonprofit team. My brother has my affiliate. I call him my brother. We have the same last name, but we're not blood brothers, Fred Davis, started a team called San Antonio Outlaws. And the San Antonio Outlaws went on to a show called Friday Night Tykes. And Friday Night Tykes was picked up by Snoop Dogg, and it came to Snoop Dogg Youth Football League, the SYFL. But to this day, Snoop Dogg Youth Football League is still in existence. He has over 30 players in the NFL. And basically, it's our way of giving back to the community through the sport of football, but at the same time, making sure they have good grades, no pass, no play. Snoop Dogg Youth Football League is probably one of the leagues, only leagues that has no pass, no play for youth football. And then also, it's a network of high net worth individuals. Like you say, if you play professional football, if you are an artist, you do want to find a place to live. You do want to find a place to invest. But at the same time, there are NDAs where some people don't want their stuff on the internet, and some people do. So I tell everybody, hey, first time home buyer marketing is a walk in the park, because you can take a picture, you can smile and say, hey, we just bought a home. But if I go sell Jay-Z a house right now, Jay-Z wants totally the opposite. He won't even come to the showing. He wants to send his runner to the showing to take pictures of the house, and he then wants the power of attorney to come to the office so he never has to be seen buying the house. So I had to learn to transition from both sides, from one side to the other. But once again, single parent household, football saved me from the gangs and streets, and so I was able to build upon my football background to get my college degree, and at the same time go play minor pro. I want to make sure we correct that. I played minor pro, not pro, and Tony would tell you there's a big difference between minor pro and pro. Minor pro, our average salary is about 50,000, so I played arena football. I never made it to the big, what we say, play on Sundays. If you notice, there's only one professional organization that plays on Sundays, and that's the NFL.
No room for anybody else. So what I
Exactly.
hear you both saying is that the professional athlete, and we'll just get real narrow, professional athletes have different needs. One, you talked about privacy, NDAs, discretion. You talked about being time starved. They don't have time to go look at houses. They just got
Correct.
traded, transferred, whatever, and they send their assistant and they rely on their people. So I heard that too. So
Correct.
so selling to an athlete doesn't even mean necessarily developing a relationship necessarily with the athlete. You have to develop a relationship with his team.
Correct. Correct. And like a real estate career, we go from when we first are agents, we put our pictures in we want our picture on our car, we want our picture on the bus stop, and then all of a sudden we start making a little money, we want to take our picture off of stuff. Well, same thing as a youth football player, you're 12 years old, you need to have a social media, you need to get your name out there, you need scouts to find you. You go from everybody, look at me, look at me. And then you make it, and you're like, everybody don't look at me, don't look at me. so it's kind of what Tony mentioned earlier. Tony said he tries to be private, but no matter how private he is Wikipedia, there's footprints to success. So basically, you can find high net worth individuals, but you have to have good security team in place, and you have to have barriers of access to make sure you have gatekeepers and things like that. But initially, we want to be accessible. And then as you grow, that kind of tunes down a little bit.
Yeah.
With regards to
Yeah.
the athletes you're dealing with, are you dealing primarily with athletes post-career or during their career? I would imagine that during their career, they are extremely busy and singularly focused on athletics, unless they're at such a different level that they have a team that's buying real estate for them and things like that. In addition to the fact that I would imagine that an athlete during the prime of their career has to be extremely mobile, because they might get
Correct.
traded to this team and that team, and they might be in a city for 1 year or 4 years or whatever, and perhaps buying a home isn't the right match. So where does the clientele, the bulk of it, come from?
Now it's changed so much that you have to have segments. So I need pre-career, so I need high school, and I'm literally talking 12 years old to 19 is one group of my athletes. 12 to 19 is getting them recruited, getting them name, image, and likeness deals, and preparing them for to get to get, first of all, get a college scholarship, then to get a package to go to college, and to invest that package while they're in college, where they're not paying for dorms, they're paying for investment properties while they're in college. And then my other segment is from going from college to the NFL. Then you have NFL to retirement. So you're literally dealing with all 3 to 4 phases of an athlete at a time. It used to be just wait for them to retire and buy them a big house. But no, you can't do it like that anymore. Then it used to be, oh, buy them a big house while they're there now. But then they realize, hey, some people are house rich and broke. And Tony, that's one of Tony's pet peeves. He teaches financial literacy. So that's why he's called to his business, because he saw it so much. But I literally have to work with people at between 12 years old to 32 and then after 32 is after retirement. I think, Tony, are you 32? You might be 32. I just realized that. So at 32,
yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
But right at 32 is when we start talking about strip centers. We're talking about DSCR. We're talking about long-term investments, buying whole properties. But initially, we're talking about residential. So as you go into retirement, you phase into commercial. But as you're in the career, you're doing like I say, your initial thing is a kiddie condo loan. If you're in college, you might as well use a kiddie condo loan, an FHA loan that allows you to buy the property while you're in college and then have your roommates pay your mortgage. So we have something for all phases. And then the long-term goal, now Tony went insurance, but the long-term goal is for them to come work for Douglas Elliman as real estate agents themselves.
Can I ask a quick question? Are you
Yes.
guys finding during these 4 phases, Don and Tony, are you recommending that some of these athletes, depending on what sport they're in, it might be hockey, it might be football, to rent a place and make money off of that rental if they're with the Panthers, and then they might get moved to Connecticut to play with the Rangers? Instead of buying and selling, are you just suggesting own something? Can you give us a couple examples about what you're guiding?
Correct. So you have two types, and I hate to be conference specific, but this starts at college at the SEC level or Big Ten level, where you have small cities who have great Airbnb opportunities. So during off season and things like that, after you're transferred, after you go somewhere else, they make great short-term rentals. So short-term rental Airbnb possibilities are very good in small towns with huge schools. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Personally know a home builder that left LA to go to Tuscaloosa. I'm like, how are you making more in Tuscaloosa than you made in Los Angeles? But he went there with a plan. And so now he mentors Alabama football players, which we just send a lineman over there. The lineman signed a $500,000 deal. And now that lineman not doing an internship as a general contractor to learn how to build houses, but he's also going to be investing in Airbnbs while he's in Tuscaloosa. So the renting is definitely an option, but at the same time, we're very seasoned at knowing where to buy and when to buy. Like I said, we don't tell everybody to buy, but if you see a Costco coming or something like that, it'd be a good idea to go ahead and buy you a little 1,200 square foot something next to the Costco.
Yeah,
Tony, I
yeah,
just got my first $2 million contract, right?
yeah.
And I want to go buy a Ferrari and I want to buy my mama a house. I've never had money before. What
Yeah.
are you advising me to do with my first $2 million contract? First of all, I probably have to pay some taxes on it. So
Yeah,
2 million doesn't
absolutely.
go as far as it used to.
Absolutely. So the first thing we talk about is creating what's called what we term financial foundational leverage, right? So we're going to look at me and my team. We're going to look at, okay, we have $2 million. The beautiful thing about the NIL side is that pay structure is 1099, right? So being able to structure the athlete as a business to be able to now reap the benefits of the tax rewards, hint, hint, NFL, shout out Caleb Williams, right?
Yeah.
To be able to take advantage of the tax advantages of that structure is the first thing. Next, we're going to look at the deal in its entirety. How is this deal coming? How's the deal flow coming? Right? Is it coming all at once? Is it coming in sections? How is this being positioned? From there, we're going to look at creating what I call the structure. And the structure is we leverage insurance contracts that yield consistent compounded contractual return. A portion of that goes to that. Then the next portion of that, we look at lifestyle. All right, well, for an NIL athlete or collegiate athlete, there's very minimum overhead. The school takes care of housing. There are brand deals that take care of cars. So we're looking to use our name, image, and likeness to be able to position ourselves with brands or with small businesses that want to leverage our NIL to create equity partnership deals. So we're going to create all of that structure first and let them know, look, this money is not the mama, we made it money. This money is mama, we're going to put you in a better position, but we're going to grow this. This is seed money. So as we continue to plant these seeds in different fertile ground, those seeds now become harvest. Once the harvest is down, now you can go ahead and start creating something that's sustainable. So that's the holistic approach that we take. When it comes to real estate, right? One of the things that we look for with real estate is multi-door units. Right, we're looking for that, right? Because it's not about just having a place; it's about having that place create cash flow. The biggest problem that you have with athletes, I know a lot of people tend to go to the statistic about 80% of athletes are financially distressed or broke within 2 to 12 years. It's not an income problem, right? It's a structure problem. What's happening is you're creating a lifestyle, and now it's even younger now with NIL, but you're creating a lifestyle that's predicated off of the income that you have coming in. But what happens is that when that income starts to disappear, that lifestyle is still there, which is what we call lifestyle inflation. And between that gap, that's where your troubles happen. So our goal is to create different opportunities that not only allow the money to be a seed, but also your brand to be a seed, to be able to do other deals and to leverage that school's name as well. The school's name, image, and likeness. Is it Alabama? Is it Texas? Is it OU? Well, not OU. They suck.
No, you don't have any image of likeness.
Right? Is it Mississippi State? Is it any one of these? Is it any one of these colleges in these places in these cities that are gung-ho fans that we can find deals for these athletes so that the name is also bringing in income as well as the NIL deal?
Why
Can you
is
go back
real
to the
estate?
second? So hold on, John. Before you go, I want to go back. Can you go back to the second part? You were talking about the insurance. I just didn't understand that.
Yeah, about Caleb Williams and the taxes.
No. He's talking about the insurance spot. So
Okay.
one of the things that we leverage is an insurance contract. It's with a company that we're partnered with, where they basically have. It's a real good policy that is. It's for many people, but it specifically fits the athlete need because it has an indexing component to it, but it's a whole life product. So it's a contractual return. So every single year they're going to return compounded interest on their money. The reason why that's important is because when you set that money there, when you have that return happening over a period of time, as that money continues to stack, now what happens is you have what's called a return of premium. That return of premium becomes like a pension plan or a consistent cash flow for the athlete that's income tax free. So as that continues to grow, now we partner with our certified financial planner as well to say, hey, look, this guy put in, give you an example. Say you got a guy that signs a $6 million contract. He puts a couple $1 million into this policy. He plays 4 years. Well, now it's 6. So let's say he plays 5 years at college and he only plays the league average of 3 to 4 years. So let's just say 9 years total football of income being able to come in. That means that was 9 years of growth that was uninterrupted and untouched. At that particular time, that money, let's just start saying that money yields him $250,000 to $300,000 tax-free income. He's able to leverage easily have 150,000 of that to be able to live life on at this particular moment, take another 150,000 of that to give to the certified financial planner that allows him to take more calculated risk because he knows that the next year that money is going to be replenished. So that's one of the strategies that we use. So if you say, okay, hey, we're gonna get together with a group of friends. We're gonna holler at Don. Don's found a commercial real estate building. We need $300,000 to be able to enter into the deal. Well, for our guys, he says, okay, well, look, I can cover 50% of that because I have a return of premium of 300,000. I'm going to get that 150, cover it. The other guys, maybe one guy, two guys, however many guys are going to be in there, they come up with the other half. If that deal hits, great. If that deal goes south for our guy, yeah, it sucks, but guess what? That money's coming back the next year, contractually guaranteed. For other people that are not structured right, they lose money in the deal. This is the problem with athletes, just the structure issue.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's good.
And when you talked about real estate and talking about multi-door properties, you're talking about thinking about real estate as an income producing asset. And and then you talked about insurance. So I'm
Yeah,
wondering, these become part of a portfolio, a balanced
yep,
portfolio for the
yep.
athlete. But it occurs to me that some, like multifamily real estate, require a lot of time that the athlete isn't prepared to give it during that phase of his career.
Yeah, that's why we bring in the experts to be able to take those deals. So you have to look at it from a standpoint of it's basically where you create these connections to where the build out is similar to a family office, right? So you have a multi-layered team of individuals. Who's my real estate team? What part of my real estate team specializes in this particular space? All right, who's my insurance team? Okay, how do they protect and create buffer assets for my money and my income to be able to have it to where there's as minimum amount of risk as humanly possible. Okay, who's my franchise building team? All right, who's my equity partner finding team? Right, like you have to create these different relationships, right? Fortunately for the athlete with Ensure Legacy, we've already done the heavy work. So when you come in with us, we just sit down, we see what it is that you're wanting to build long term. You take a guy that's 19, 20 years old, we're talking to the 30, 35-year-old version of you, right? And so now what happens is instead of over explaining and using vernacular and trying to pontificate things that they can't understand, you're going to bring that down to a level to where they do understand and say, we're going to take these steps at this particular time because it's going to yield this results at this particular time. This is when mom's life changes because we've already had growth here. At this particular time, this is when you can start looking to invest in these type of investments that are a little more risky because you have these buffer assets in place. So we just walk them through a full strategy, right? And then the other part of that too is the education, and that goes without saying. I truly believe that anybody that benefits off of your ignorance will never tell you the truth. And so for the athlete, it's important not only that you understand how to study the playbook and know what drop zones and safety rotations mean and cross dogs and K-PAP pickups and all of these particular things that you know about the football field. It is vitally important that you understand your financial life as well. And you don't have to understand it to the point of a certified financial planner or a financial advisor, but you do have to understand that we work with you. And at the end of the day, the decision is in your hands. So we give the power back to the athlete, but we groom them over time to understand why this structure helps them to be able to protect them down the line, not just in the now. So the other part of that is this. We focus a lot on delayed gratification, right? We're not looking to sacrifice long-term success on the altar of short-term pleasure. So there are things that we put in place to say, hey, this is your bucket of money and there's only one rule. Spend it all, right? So now what happens is as they're doing that and they start to understand how finance works, psychologically what happens is it's like, man, I'm not going to spend $15,000 on this item. I can put that into this
Yes,
asset and it'd be yielding me, 10% turn or
correct.
8% turn or 15% return. Or I could be looking at this money to yield me more income or more cash flow positivity. So it starts to work in that particular way. So we're just educating the athlete to be a better financial planner for the most part.
I'm trying.
John, I forgot to mention, John, he played for a lot of teams, but he went to University of Texas, and the Texas athletes talk like that. They're different.
I'll say this, and whoever has questions, please jump in. I'll say this. But Forbes named Texas as an Ivy League school. So I now have that to be able to leverage to all my Harvard grads out there that that I'm a part of an Ivy League school.
Were you all? This is extraordinary. Were you that guy in the locker room where they'd be like, "Oh, I just got my contract renewed," and they're like, "Oh, go talk to Tony," and they'd wander over to the offensive tackle part of the locker room, and you'd be like, "Well, let's talk about a diversified strategy here and
Yeah,
delayed gratification." Oh, he's
that
no fun.
yeah, man.
Were
Listen,
you
I
always
think
like this, or did you
no.
come by this later?
No. What brought this on is that a good buddy of mine that you guys may or may not know, if you watched a 30 for 30 called Broke, a good buddy of mine, Ed Butowski, it was his research, and he was actually in that particular documentary that sparked my journey for financial understanding. Because the whole thing for me was I came from a very adverse, challenging yet growth experienced background, right? That's how we're going to put it nicely. And so for me, I never wanted to go back there. And so that prompted the journey. And then from there, John, it just became, I'm the type of person to where I rather talk to the people that have had the experiences versus the people that are theoretical, right? Like, of course, you can learn from everybody, but what I've learned is that unless you can sit on the sideline and have an understanding about what's happening in front of you, but until you're actually out there and the proverbial bullets are live, you truly don't understand what something feels like in depthly. So I wanted to get and surround myself with people that were way smarter than me that could give me the insight that I needed to understand how do you create forget generational wealth. That comes over time. That's a whole nother conversation. How do you create financial foundational leverage that is consistent during your lifespan so that now it gives you the opportunity to create the generational wealth? We're trying to skip steps here when we just start saying things like taglines like, oh, you jump in insurance to create generational wealth, or you jump in real estate to create generational wealth. It's like, well, I've talked to people that are a part of generational wealth, and they're never saying that these are the things like these are the only things that you do to create generational wealth. The first thing they talk about is the knowledge base of understanding how to create the generational wealth. So that's the thing that we focus on for the athlete, the know-how, right? When you have wisdom, that's great, but the main thing is to get understanding. And once you have wisdom and understanding, that gives you the knowledge of application. And that's what we focus on.
And I think another thing that's important in that aspect is athletes are always trained to prepare to be fearless. But one of the
Yeah,
most fearful things is going from a seven-figure salary to a six-figure salary, or possibly going to a five-figure salary. So I think this is very important for Tony and I, especially Tony on a long-term segment of the insurance side, uh, how he is preparing other athletes who have been in his shoes not to be afraid. I've been here. This is what's going to happen. And this is how we're going to go seven figure to six figure, then back to seven figure. And I think that's what it has to be communicated because I've even helped military people who have fought in wars. And then when they get discharged, like honorable discharge and things like that, then they are very, very afraid when they make a large purchase because they almost died for that money. And I think NFL players are very similar. They put their lives on the line for their checks. And now they have to be very strategic in making that money last as long as possible and having people they know, like, and trust as a team to support them throughout the rest of that journey.
mm, that's
Can
good.
we talk more about that word trust?
Mm,
Because it occurs to me that people have been wanting something from me since I was 12, and
mm,
now I've made it, and
mhm.
now
Yes,
like the dam is broken, everybody has got advice on what I should do. So talk to me
exactly.
about finding a team that's trustworthy, and then when they find you, Tony, and you're the team, and you're putting the team together,
Yeah,
um, then you're the go-between, right? They
yeah.
trust you and you put
Mm.
together the team and you give the advice and then you execute on the strategy. How do I get in front of somebody like you and make sure that you trust me?
Yeah, well, I believe the first thing is familiarity, right? every beast likens unto his kind, right? Or birds of a feather flock together, as the proverbial saying goes. And so I'm able to speak the same language of the athlete because I am the athlete, right? Although I sit on this side, I'm an athlete, man. I never forget what got me to where I am, that being the Most High, of course, but then him allowing me to leverage my athletic ability to be able to create income that allows me to be a part of my family's life and not have to clock in to a 9 to 5, which is, I have nothing against that. I just choose to live my life a different way. And so the first thing is about being able to connect with the athlete to answer the question how they find me. To quote the great Scarface, I'm not hard to find, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you go to insurelegacy.org, you go to tonyhills.com, you'll see me. I'm very active with different universities. I'm active within different chapters, PAC community, NFLPA, NFL alumni. There's different groups that I'm a University of Texas. There's different groups. That I'm a part of, and then just being on the speaking circuit to make myself more discoverable is very important, because for me, it's, and I know people say this, but it's really, my mission is really not money motivated, and
Yeah.
then I actually have the proof of that concept to prove it. When I was in Detroit, I signed, I think it was a $3.5–4 million deal for 1 year with Detroit, but I decided that I was retiring. So I actually gave them the signing bonus back, thanked them for their time, and walked away. I'm not money motivated, right?
Yeah.
My mission is to make sure that that my guys, the guys that I've played with, I've lived the life that you've lived. I've come from the neighborhood that you come with. I understand the mental trauma of what that life looks like. And to lose, to quote unquote have the thought process of I've lost it all because I made
Yeah.
one wrong move, that is mentally taxing on a lot of these young men. And that's the reason why we see some of these tragedies that we see. So my focus is to be able to get in front of them, to share the knowledge, and let the word go out, and one will plant the seed, one will water it, but the Lord will give the increase. And for those that hear what I'm saying and it aligns with them, those are the ones that I work with. And for those that might say, well, that's never going to happen to me, well, I'll pray for you, brother. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that lie, but numbers don't.
Can
And if
I?
you don't have,
Exactly.
yeah,
So,
go
so,
ahead.
so John, what I was going to add to that too. So you say at 12 years old, what us you is you have to tell them you were that 12-year-old. By you being that 12-year-old, I said, football did this for me. Football did this for me. Guess what? Football took me here. Now I'm a real estate broker in Texas, 20 years. Football did this, but you have to take these steps. I hate to use a lot of acronyms, but we use FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. We use NCAA, National College Football Athletes. So basically, you align with acronyms from time to time. Then I end up getting my CRS, my Certified Residential Specialist. But then I tell everybody this too. Being a realtor helped me be a better sports and entertainment agent because of Old Car, National Association of Realtor ethics. A lot of these sports agents don't have any ethics. So when you combine what you've learned in real estate with the sports and entertainment to where you understand that I look for the best deal for my client, not for myself, then it's easy for people to gravitate to me because they realize I have their best interests in mind.
Can I ask Don a question about where he gets his leads? Don, you are obviously with Douglas Elliman. Tell me, do you work with some of the front offices of the various sports entities like the Cowboys or whomever? Do they have you as a special contact so that when they have a new person come in, a new player, maybe a new staff person, that they say, you go talk to Don, he's going to help you find a place to live?
So you're talking about the player engagement office, and the player engagement office, it works really well with the lady realtors, but with the guys, it doesn't work. It doesn't work as well. So I have to do a full court press. I have to go to social media. I have to go to your trainer. I have to go to your old coach. I have to really,
You
uh,
have to work.
yeah. It's like a full court press, but at the same time, I'm not really looking to bombard you. I'm doing a circle of trust. I'm saying I guarantee you you know 3 people that already love Don Davis. And all I need you to know is that they love Don Davis. And so once you know they love Don Davis and trust Don Davis, then I don't have to sell. I don't have to sell. The relationships are established. But it's just capitalizing on my existing network. And like I say, I'm not a hard sports and entertainment guy. So what I mean by that, I might do 4 transactions a year from sports and entertainment, 8 from military, and then 12 from corporate relocation. So, but the sports and entertainment transactions are the funnest because then I'm going to football games. I love football. Then you know what I mean. So I like, I
Tell me
like
more
the,
about that player engagement office because it occurs to me that everybody's thinking, well, of the 100 or so sports teams around the country, that's where all the action is. They're not just moving the athletes, but as Meredith points out, the whole support staff, a lot of people moving all the time who need services.
yes, they definitely need services. They definitely need they need to know where the local schools are. They need to know where the local churches are. They need the whole relocation package that we do for all of our other clients at a whole nother level with a lot of more discretion. So the player engagement offers, the general managers and the personnel, they refer people that have had successful track records within the organization. But what I love about sports is that as the business changes, as the games change, people are people are being traded. So there's different player engagement people, there's different coaches on staff, and it's a constant revolving door. So basically, how you kind of monitor the stock market, that's how I monitor my sports and entertainment network. I literally have to watch. Hey, we just had trades done yesterday. There's about 70 guys, I believe, that were traded that I personally watched go from location to location. Out of those guys, there's really one I'm working with right now, but it's a big fish. So I'm working with him, and he was well established at his team. He was on his team for 10 years, and now he's finally making a move. So it's working out well. But the main thing is that you definitely want to have a network. You want to go to the events, the NFL Combine. You want to go to uh, the NFL draft, April 25th in Pittsburgh, and then any other activities that you can go along and support. I mean, there's charity events as well. You don't just show up on payday. You have to give, give, give. So if there's any NFL charity events or Players' Wives Association and things like that, you can write a check. You don't hang out with your wives, you write a check. You do stuff like that just to make sure that without being present.
How about you, Tony? You have to be at the combine. You've got to be there at draft night. You've got to connect year round. It's a full-time job to connect with these people and touch them several points during the year so that they're aware that your team is there when they need you, when they get
Yeah,
traded.
well, so I'll say this. I believe there's 2 different talking points. What Don is talking about is his ability to have created a pipeline from tenure, right? Being able to be in these particular spaces. I met one guy. This guy was a part of the circle. My situation is extremely different because I am in the circle, right? So for me, when it comes to it's not about looking for quote unquote leads. For me, I'm looking for alignment, right? I'm like
Correct.
some of my teammates and good buddies are, running backs coaches for the Kansas City Chiefs, or they're the offensive line coaches for the Steelers or the Eagles, or they sit as the player personnel guys for, some of these other teams that I'm related to, that I've either played with or played against or known. So for me, it's about the alignment, being able to work with individuals that see the value in what it is that we do and say, hey, you know what, T, man, I want to go ahead and get with you guys and learn about how I can create this lifestyle continuation strategy that you guys present. So the aspect for me is a little different. Do I go to the combine? Yes, but I'm going to the combine not necessarily looking for client opportunities. I'm
Leads.
actually going to the combine, one, because it's cool to go back to where I played because I played with the Colts, and then 2, to be able to connect with my guys that I haven't seen. And so what ends up happening is just through conversation, opportunities come. going to different Super Bowl events. Like I sit on the board of a lot of these chapters that are a part of those. So the NFL, the NFLPA, NFL alumni, the Trust Foundation. Like I have the access to all of the things that people are looking to try to get into. I'm already there. So I'm looking at it from a different perspective than most.
Tony, can you tell me something? Go ahead.
And well, I was just going to add too, you want to make sure, and I know we call them leads and referrals and things like that, but really, really, if any other industry is relationship first, it's this, because like John had mentioned earlier, they've been a target so long that they can smell somebody after their money. They can smell that a mile away. Even pastors. I mean, it can be a pastor from a church. They can smell it a mile away. So the main thing, if we happen to do business together, cool. But if not, let's just hang out, man.
So that kind of leads a little bit to my question. So Tony, I'm sure you're dealing with a lot of athletes, and once they're in the sense that super successful athletes, as people become super successful, their families get bigger, their friends get, they start coming with entourages, and then you had to have some of these guys who they're great, wonderful people who are making money now, and you're trying to allocate things for future, long-term, middle-term, long and short-term, but they have to have, some of these guys have to be like, listen, I lived with my aunt. She brought me up. I've got to help her. I've got to help her, and they've got to be allocating money to certain people because everybody, I mean, some people they're coming, they want some money now, but he wants to also, or she wants to take care of that person who took care of them. And that is an immediate need in some ways. How do you manage that, or how do you allocate for that?
Well, you use the word, it's about cash flow allocation, right? So when you're creating some of these structures, that's one of the things we sit down and say, who are the people in your family that are the people that you have to take care of, right? You feel obligated. There is a responsibility to what these individuals mean to you and how they've helped you. And then we sit down and we talk about that. And then from there, we craft a strategy that is specifically for that. So if you take a guy, and we can use numbers, if you take a guy, he signed a $30 million deal, we're leveraging particular things like from an allocation standpoint, say 5 million of that I'm responsible for, the CFPs and financial advisors take the other 25. Then what I look to do is I go back to my team and say, hey, look, of this 5, we're going to have a portion of this to be able to create cash flow accumulation and principal protection. But I want to also create another policy that is literally the family banking structured policy. So now what happens is that money continues to build up and come over time, and we turn that faucet on. Now I go back to the athlete and say, hey, look, what do you want to get on? Are we looking for a new house? Are we looking for the car? What is it that we're looking for? Because we've just been able to create a structure that is literally organized and structured to only take care of that particular individual or the things that they're having. The other part of that is that we're not, when we're doing that, we're wanting to set it up in a situation ideally to where if it's real estate, say it's a house, right? They want to buy mom, dad, whoever a house, right? Then what we're looking to do is see, how do we pay that house off? Because the thing is that because of the fact that the athletes make money, they make a king's ransom, but the time horizon on when they do it is short. We don't want any lingering assets. It's a lot easier to take care of the property taxes of a home than to have to take care of a mortgage and everything else that comes with it. Now the house is completely paid off. Now what happens is when that happens, we can even leverage the equity that's in the home to create another structure that even does it even more. So it's about stacking opportunity and strategy on top of opportunity and strategy. And the name of the game is structure and cash flow.
Tony, are you suggesting that people pay cash for everything? Or like for a house? What are you recommending?
Not for everything. What I'm saying, and I'm not talking about people too. I want to be very, very specific. I'm talking about this industry, this particular industry, because what makes it different is that if I'm the CEO that's making, making $2, $3, $4 million, that money is consistent because of the fact that I work with the organization that's going to be consistent. For the athlete, their business is their body. On top of that, so there's 100% risk to their business there. And then other people have decisions within their business, so they as well. And so there's that aspect of it. So because of the time horizon, of when they're making this allotment of cash, we're looking to say, okay, how do we turn the liability? Because if you purchase a home, the home, until you are leveraging that equity, is a liability. You
Correct.
can't argue that.
Correct.
That is what it is by definition. So,
Yes.
so when we're looking to purchase the home, we decrease the liability, and now we turn that home into an asset by being able to leverage not only the structures that we put in place to purchase that home, but then also the equity line of credit, right, to be able to
Elon,
give to our
equity line.
certified financial planner to go and make other deals and then place that money back. So we're taking $1 and doing multiple things with it.
Wow.
Brilliant.
Where do you see this going in the next 5 years? It occurs to me that NIL is the biggest thing to happen to
Yeah,
athletes in the last couple of years.
yeah.
Give me the crystal ball.
Well, the way that I see NIL going is there's going to be some sort of structure that plays out to be able to cap the amount of money that athletes have. And one of the biggest concerns that I have, first of all, here's my thing. I believe athletes definitely need to get paid, especially in the collegiate level. Colleges have been making money, millions and millions and billions of dollars for years. So the athletes need to get paid. However, because we're in a system that is basically the wild, wild west, what I see happening is not understanding, not having the proper financial acumen is going to cause them to be in trouble after the money goes. So you basically see what's happening with the NBA, NFL, MLB players at an earlier age with athletes, right? And it's going to be worse for them because they're getting all the money up front. So they don't have proper tax structures and shelters. They don't have, the proper financial advisors. A lot of these guys that call themselves agents, they don't even have to be certified, and they're taking 15. I saw one tax guy came to me and told me about agents taking 20%
Yeah, 20
of
to
of the
30%.
collegiate, yeah, of
And
the
then,
college's
and
athletes'
then
money, right?
even worse than that, I found out something recently where if you have a 4-year deal with the university, there's some type of equity firm out there saying, "Hey, we'll give you 30 cents on the dollar if you sign over your other 70% to us." So basically, if I get $1 million over 4 years, they'll give you $30,000. They give you 300,000 up front to forfeit your other 700.
Yeah. And so because athletes are not understanding what that really means because they're at a young age, they're being taken advantage of. So uh, for us, the goal is extremely simple. For myself and our team, we're looking to create a structure that empowers the athlete, that diminishes the financial distress number, and that gets the piranhas out of the business. That's basically what our top three priorities are. And to be able to bring in guys like Don was talking about, bringing in agents. I also want to bring in agents from the athlete corridor to be able to build an army of guys that have the same type of strategy that they can go out to their networks and to their people and build on the same way, because this job is too big for one person. You need multiple people, but you also need multiple people that have the right reasons, that are doing the right things so that they can get the right results. That's extremely important.
Yeah, yeah. So for hiring from within, like some of my best realtors that have worked with me are former athletes that have joined my team. So when you hire from within, it's basically a big brother system, and that's the same thing. I think Tony, you had mentioned somebody was your mentor when you were in one locker room. You were telling me somebody was a mentor, and you knew right away that he was somebody who could teach you how to stay in the league. So that's very important. Hiring from within, it eliminates some of the risk factor, but at the same time you have an instant connection from going from one career to the next, from going from being a professional athlete to being professional realtor, professional insurance agent, professional certified financial planner. The second career being a mentorship type program.
Talk to me about the cross industry networking national. You're representing guys who are now being traded to New York or Los Angeles. You really have to have a national network of trusted people that you work with. And maybe I have I don't know, I sell houses or cars or insurance product in the New York area or the LA area. How do I get, I think the word I heard from Tony was alignment. How do I get
Exactly.
alignment with Tony the Tycoon?
That's kind of from. I can jump in real quick on that one, John. So that's how we met. You and I met at a national convention, and then we had alignment. We were able to talk and realize, you know what, this is somebody I want to keep in touch with. So on the sports side, we do that at the combine. We do that at the draft. We do that, and so like Tony mentioned earlier, you're not really looking for leads. You're looking for alignment with people you want to do business with going forward.
And John was easy
Yeah.
to remember because he had a bow tie, and you're like,
He was
the
easy.
guy with the bow tie.
Yeah.
John remember two people, John and the saxophone player. John, tell him about the saxophone player. I don't know where the guy came from, but we're in the meeting, we're in the middle of dinner, and some guy just slides in on his knees playing a saxophone.
Only in Las Vegas.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. No, to you know, to add a little bit more to what Don is saying, it's you're going to find them in different places. I look at it. I look at everything about. I look at everything from being intentional, right? So, what is there's a great scripture that says that which of you considering to build a tower doth not sit down first and count up the cost, meaning that you have to
Correct.
sit down and plan what is it that what problem are you trying to solve, what solution are you going to bring to the market once you've identified it, and is the market begging for that solution? For me, all of the answers to that question is yes. So when it comes to finding individuals, you have to put yourself in spaces and in the right places so that you can find those individuals that do align with you. So it is
Hey,
things
time
like,
out. We got to call it time out, Tony. Hey, John, we got to note this. That was one of the best strategies. He said, "Is the market begging for your solution?" I think you
yeah.
need to come speak at real estate events now.
Hey man, listen. I have my team get to you, man. I have my team get to you. But no, so yeah, so you want to make sure that you're doing that, and then having those type of conversations, making sure that they're in alignment with what the mission is. I'll give you guys an example. One of the number one places that where I've been able to find majority of my partners today has actually been on LinkedIn, right? Because
Yes,
on LinkedIn, you get to see what individuals are doing, you get to see the type of things that they're posting, and you also get to see what other people are saying about those individuals. So I like LinkedIn as a credible source because, look, people are not scared to create ghost accounts and talk all types of trash about the individual if they truly don't like them. So when you go on there and you see reviews about, hey, I was with this particular individual, they helped me do this, they helped me do that, and it's like, okay, well, let me dig a little deeper. All right, they went to this university, they got their degree in this. I see their athletes are speaking to them, they operate in this space. All right, let me look at my network. What is missing? Who do I not have? For us, one of the partnerships that we just inked was we were missing a physical therapist, a chiropractic physical therapist that was excellent in their space and had worked with athletes before. And so, lo and behold, we found Dr. Christian right here in my own backyard. This guy's amazing, man. I mean, he was able to diagnose me and didn't even look at me. I just told him where a pain point was, and he told me exactly what it was. And lo and behold, he has the solution to fix it. So when you're dealing with individuals, it's not only important to make sure that they align with what you're doing, but it's also important to make sure that they're excellent and masters in the space from which they
that
operate.
they're in. Correct, correct. You only work with the top of the cream of the crop in your industry.
All right. Well, my last question. You might have noticed Scott Hobbs at the bottom of the page. Scott Hobbs builds beautiful new homes, average like 10, $15 million homes. The problem for an athlete is that, and I'll let Scott answer this, but I think they take at least 18 months, 2 years to build. So it's one thing if you call John Engel or Don Davis and you say, sell me a used house. But if you've made it and you want to build a new house and you want to hire Scott to build it, that takes a long time. Building a new house does not align with most athletes' timetable. So it's one thing to have plenty of money. It's another thing to be able to project 3 years into the future as to where you want to be and what your needs are going to be.
Well, what I would say to that, John, is extremely simple. You structure and allocate the money for that potential plan, right? And this is the reason why it's more
Scott likes to
important.
get paid up front. Are you kidding me?
No.
He's not
Yeah,
waiting
no,
3 years.
I get that. What I'm saying is, as it pertains to the athlete, you structure his wealth plan to be able to say, hey, look, when this thing matures to this particular date, whenever you want to build, however long it takes, it doesn't matter. You're structured properly and you have these investments that are going to take care of that particular ask. Right. And I believe that's the thing that makes what we do different here with Insure Legacy and with the partners is that we're looking at athlete behavior. Like one of the things that I find fascinating about the stock market, and when I'm talking to financial advisors, is that they talk about the numbers, right? Well, the stock market has generally done this over the past years. It's done this since 1945. We talk about the crash, all of these things. It always bounces back. All of the proverbial sayings. But what I find interesting is that and fascinating is that they never factor in human behavior. What is the human behavior of an athlete? Okay, well, one, I think I'm the best in everything. Two, I'm never going to lose. Three, I'm going all in. I'm going for broke. And what ends up happening is that 80% of the time, the last part of it is they're right. They do end up broke. And it's not because they don't have the income. It's because the structure is wrong. If I'm looking at Scott and I'm saying, hey, Scott, coming down the pipeline here, I'm about 4 years away from wanting to build my forever home. Definitely want to keep that relationship open with you because when everything happens, I'm good. Now, when they come to Scott, they place that money with him. Guess what? Scott is happy because it's like, man, not only do I have a client of this caliber, but we're going to build this beautiful home. So Scott is doing what he loves. The athlete is happy because it's like, this is everything that I've dreamed of, and I'm dealing with one of the best builders in the world. And we're happy because we know that athlete is never going to have to worry about not being able to pay for that home, right? So we want win-win-wins all the way around.
And John, how that works also, John, that athlete is not building that house where he's going to get traded. 9 times out of 10, that house is going to be built where he grew up. It's usually going to be back at home. So I know for a fact somebody building a house that Scott probably could build right here in Texas right now. Dak Prescott is at the point in his career where he's decided to settle. So he's building a house as we speak. And I know about the house. I've walked it and things like that. I've walked the community and things like that. So, but it's where they are in their career, and typically they're going to build in a town. They're not going to build in a town where where they're only there 2 or 3 years or something like that. They're going to build where they have the most family support.
Like Tony back in Texas.
And then I'm gonna say this too, Scott. Scott's the wife picks the floor plan, the wife picks the finishes. So while he's at practice, it's gonna be Scott's architect and the wife making majority of those decisions.
Tony,
This
where's
has
the
been
ring? Tony, where's the ring?
Yeah.
You want to see the rings.
All right, give me a second. I can't show y'all where I keep it.
Okay. Well, while he's getting the rings, I'll pull up a
Yes.
couple screens. This has been Boroughs and Burbs. You'll find this episode in half hour from now on boroughsandburbs.com, or you can find it on YouTube and Spotify and Apple and all the places. But yep, you can look for 221 Sports Marketing at boroughsandburbs.com. I'm John Engel. You'll find me at theengelteam.com. Roberto Cabrera, my trusty partner for 6 years now. Thank you, Roberto.
Thank you,
Roberto.
Thank you, sir.
And just to let you guys know, I drive a Tesla, and the Spotify on the Tesla, I mean, between showings, I just jump in and you guys are on. You guys do a great job. So I can just jump in and my screen cuts right on and I'm floating to the next house.
Well, so you heard it first from Don Davis. He is a Boroughs and Burbs devotee in the Tesla. I love that.
Yeah. The Tesla Model X. I mean, you just jump in. I got you guys on a big screen.
Oh, jeez.
All right, we've had Tony Hills,
There he is.
football legend, on the show. Thank you so much for bringing Tony onto the show, Don. This has been phenomenal. You can
and I
find
want you-
Tony at tonyhills.com, of course, and you can buy his book to get more detail on
Yes.
everything we've been talking about today. And so,
And John, I want you to really look at how tall Tony is. You can't really tell on Zoom, but Tony's a big guy.
NFL tackle, I have a feeling.
Yeah. All right, guys. So look. So in 2008, I don't know where you were, but we played the Arizona Cardinals in one of the most televised watched Super Bowl games in Super Bowl history. And at the end of that game, there was a specific play that there's a lot of plays in the game, but there's one play that people remember, and that was my good friend and buddy Santonio Holmes catching a toe touch pass in the right corner end zone, the south end, to beat the Arizona Cardinals and for us to become world champions. And so because of that, we were able to get this ring. I don't know if you guys can see it. Can you guys see
Yes,
that?
we can.
All
Yes.
right. So that's it. That's the 2008 Super Bowl championship ring, man. Great memories. Awesome game. We ended up winning 27-23. We played it in, I believe it was Tampa, Florida. And man, no, it was it was Tampa. And so great memories. All my kids get to say that they're champions. So I love that.
Yes.
And my wife. Shout out to my wife. She's a
Thank
champion
you
too.
for sharing that, Tony. Thank you.
this has been great.
Congrats again.
Thank you so
Congrats
much for
again.
being on the show. This has been one of the best episodes ever.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
guys.
you,
So
John.
impressive.
Thank you, Roberto.
Thank you guys.
everybody.
Really appreciate it.
Let's get together again soon.
Yes.
Tony, I'm calling you later.
Hey,
If any of you come to the New York area, I hope you'll look Roberto and I up.
Absolutely. We have friends in New York now, man. Not only are we coming there for the pizza, but we're coming there to hang out, man. So let's do it.
Connecticut is the pizza capital of the country now, by the way.
Wow.
New York has a
Wow.
lot of athletes that need what you do, Tony. A lot
Exactly.
of athletes.
Listen,
Exactly.
Listen, John. Okay, so from your lips to God's ears, is there any athletes that you're connected to that you believe that I can help? You have my information. I need to get yours, but please, even if it's just having a conversation and giving them strategies that they can even take back to their wealth team, I'm all ears. I don't believe in pies. I believe that the world is a seed, and what happens when you eat fruit, it exposes the seed, and the seed is planted. It doesn't just yield an apple; it yields a tree. So there's more than enough for all of us.
Tony, I got a hockey player that I want you to meet.
Let's do
Perfect.
it. Do you have my contact information?
Yes.
Okay, give me a buzz. I'm waiting on you.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you,
Thank y'all
guys.
so much.
See you guys.
I
Awesome.
appreciate y'all.
Thank
So
See
you.
y'all at the
impressive.
Ellies. See y'all at the Ellies.
Yep.